Wild Sheep Foundation presents Sheep Shape. In the rain-soaked valleys of Alaska, Rick Carone and Team Stack-On have been digging down deep, making their way to the top of the mountain in search of Rick's dream ram.
It's going good. I have to do some adjustments on the pack. Other than that, it's a beautiful day. It's probably the most ideal conditions that you could possibly have. Not too warm, not too cold. Sun shining. Beautiful day. Now we just need to be blessed with some animals.
Knowing they are getting closer to the peak where they can start glassing for his ram, Rick grits his teeth and makes the onward ascent. Several hours pass, and Rick decides to take a second to rest his body.
So Spencer was just telling us about a ram nicknamed Hellboy, and he said the closest he's been to it has been 850 yards, and obviously with me having the bow as my primary and then muzzleloader as my secondary weapon, I would not feel comfortable in reaching out there. So if we did see Hellboy and he did make a run for it or started to get uneasy at that many yards, there's no way I could shoot. But I could tell you one thing, I would not put it past Patrick Scroggin to break out his 7mm and make that 850 yard shot and drop Hellboy dead in his tracks. And he'd be the type of ram I think Patrick would like too. So Spencer nicknamed him Hellboy because he's full curl, tight, actually about an inch past full curl, real tight. He said about 10 years old, and on the other end, he's just a stump, like he took the grinder to it, like on that movie Hellboy. But that means he's a warrior, he's a battler, just like Patrick. And man, I know he's up on a hunt in Northwest Territories right now, and I hope he's doing good, and I hope he's being safe. I know his leg's been giving him some problems, but not sure exactly what. So we just, he's in my thoughts.
While Rick takes a much-needed rest, a few hundred miles to the east, Patrick Scroggin is putting a few last-minute details together, hoping his prosthesis will be able to give him some tips in fixing his prosthetic leg. With the help of his inReach, he plans on getting his answer.
All right, so we're getting ready to head out from the camp here, finally, to set up spike camp. Last night we shot a wolf, and going to get the wolf we had to cross the river, and going and coming. And this leg, which is supposed to be waterproof, it's kind of our worst fear coming up here, because I only got this leg a day and a half before I came up here, because my other one like this that I've had for a year, I sent in to have serviced, and it was wore plumb out, so they had to send it back to have it completely rebuilt. So this was a loaner, and usually with loaners, there's there's always that scare because you're not familiar with it that it's gonna mess up, and it did. And I'm gonna try to call my guy here that does all this stuff and see if we can figure out something. We do have a spare, but it's not nearly as good and not nearly as strong. So, but we'll see here.
Patrick is able to connect with his prosthesis. From here, he can get information on how to make the necessary tweaks to salvage his leg's onboard computer system.
Okay, thanks, man. Yeah, I will. I'll do it later. All right, we might have a way to reset this thing. So we're gonna try to do what he said, and we'll see if we can get this thing reset.
With the help of his prosthesis, Patrick's prosthetic leg is on the route to recovery.